me show you some of the power in Figma's vector networks. In most drawing programs, when you want shapes to touch each other along an edge or a point, you snap them together using geometry or other alignment tools, and then you might group them together as one unit, so you can move them like so. But if you wanted to edit, say, this point where these meet, you'd have to edit it in two places, on the yellow shape and on the purple shape. Well, in Figma, you can flatten these shapes into one vector network, and any points that are shared by both shapes become a single point that is shared by both regions. And Figma's not doing a trick here and pretending that 2 points are 1 point. It really is 1 point. Let's look at another example. Let's imagine we wanted to create this shape. There are a lot of shared points here between the different regions. You could certainly stack it as 4 different shapes on top of each other, but that's a lot of work to maintain and harder to edit if you want to move the points. Let's see if we can build this using a vector network very quickly. I think I'll start by drawing 4 squares, shift dragging a rectangle. Let me add a stroke along the center, just so I can see it a bit better. I'm going to option drag to the right here. I'm going to hit Command D a couple more times. So now I've got 4 separate boxes. If I click on these and let's stretch it out so it matches this size, more or less, we can edit that later. This is still 4 shapes. I'm going to highlight all 4 of them, flatten, Command E. And now when I go into edit mode, I can see that I've got points here that are between regions and they're actually shared. Okay, that's pretty neat already. Now in this case, I also am going to need a midpoint on these lines so I can do this little bend. Well, that happens automatically in Figma, so I'm just going to shift drag out some midpoints here, and you can see that I've still got these different regions separate. Let's add some color. I'm just going to click here, change the fill on this section. Let's just steal it from here. I'm going to click on this region, steal it from here, and so on. I'll close this. Let's add a little meat to that stroke, make it a little closer. And now it's just a matter of refining the location of these points to make it look better. You get the idea. And what's so nice about it, we can change the colors either by going into edit mode or by just accessing the colors here on the whole shape. I can just click here and change any of these colors as I need to. Let me undo that. Or if I decide the geometry is not quite right, it's just a matter of highlighting points and moving them here, and I'm affecting both of the regions affected by that move. Very, very convenient. And I keep finding new ways to use this instead of my old way of thinking. Let's do something else. One of the other neat things you can do in vector networks is define shapes that would be otherwise quite tricky to do. Like say we wanted to fill this shape between 2 stars. Well, let's see how we could do it with vector networks. Here I have 2 stars. They're totally separate polygons that have been drawn. I'm going to highlight both of them, hit flatten to make them one vector network, edit mode. Now I can see the edit points on all of them. Switch to the pen tool. I'm going to click here to here to find that connection. I'm also going to click here to here. And right away I've created an enclosed shape, and because it's a vector network, Figma understands that any enclosed region can be filled. So let me click on here. I now have a fill I can do independently of the stars. That's neat. What's also neat is that I can still move these stars around, and it understands that that region is changing as well. Any filled region you can hover over and move in this mode as well, and all of its connected points go with you. Very, very handy for creating shapes between other shapes that are difficult to do otherwise. Let's look at another example. Vector networks, you can have different fills for the different shapes within your vector network, but they all must share the same stroke. Then if you want to change the stroke thickness or change the stroke properties, you can do so once for the whole shape, and all of the objects within it are updated. This could be useful for icons that have different weights, etc. One more example. Imagine you're trying to build this hollow shape. If you're using Boolean operations in Figma, You would have a large circle with another one subtracted. You might overlay a rectangle, do an intersection, put that intersection on top of the other one and group those together. It gets a bit complicated. There's quite a few steps. Now I'm used to working in Illustrator and other tools where I might just take all these shapes, put them on top of each other, use a function like Pathfinder, which splits out all the overlapping shapes, and apply colors to them. Well, it just so happens that vector networks also do this. These are the shapes that define the geometry that I can use to build this. Let me just take a copy down here with Option Shift Drag. I'm just going to flatten this so it becomes a vector network. Hit Enter. Here's all my points. I can just go straight to the fill bucket, remove fills where I don't want them, and add them where I do. Now I'm just going to put that orange fill here. And then on this area, put the other fill. I don't need these points, so I can just go in here and delete them. Hit return. I've already got my shape. It's hollow too. If I add a drop shadow, you can see that that hole is in the middle. Super easy. Something else we can do here. Now that we've already built this shape, imagine we needed this orange piece for another part of our design. I can just go into edit mode, highlight this enclosed shape here, hit copy, leave edit mode, and paste. And now I can copy out any combination of points and areas and get that shape to be used however I need elsewhere in my design. Pretty cool. Well, I hope you found that useful and that you find a way to use vector networks in your next project.